Good morning, everyone. Namaste. We are going to be reading about my law of attraction. It is secrets to manifesting more of what you want and less of what you don't want. So we're reading chapter 5 and it's connect. It says, in order to develop as a human, you have to master the artistry of forming connection. It says associate. To connect means give something your care, consideration, and engage with it. In addition to connecting with individuals, you can connect with groups, objects, places, thoughts, values, and actions. Creating a connection call for nothing but your tending. Think of your mother, think of your democracy, think of your favorite song. Be present and pay attention to something that you are able to connect with it. Do you remember the first time you learned about the physical world as a child? You looked around and observed things that caught your eye. Then when you went to grab them and started to play with them, you got to know your environment through physical, practical experience. If you found something you didn't like, you tried to avoid it in the future. When you discovered something you admired, you gave more attention to it. Occasionally, your focus will bring you into a state of affection. As adults, we have been blank about the best way to satisfy our desires to go directly for what fascinates us and engage us with it straight off. Instead, we create sorts of goofy principles that limit our ability to take responsibility for what we want. We can't start a business because it's so dangerous. We can't talk to the person because we're already in a relationship. We can't examine our other belief systems because they are forbidden by our religion today. Such principles are rooted in fear and disconnection and have no place in the life of story of consciousness development. If you commit to living consciously, you will often find that you struggle with principles. If you want to be more loving, you have to wishing to connect. A great deal of most valuable development happened when I decided to connect with something important to me in an event, when others disagreed with my determination. To find and develop, you must allow to associate with what you wish and you disconnect from what you don't wish. Nobody might give you that opportunity. It's your right as a human. You don't need anyone else's permission to choose what associations are beneficial for you. It ultimately depends on you to initiate the drive to connect with what you wish and to turn off from what you don't wish. By deliberately showing up at associations that vibe instinctively right for you, you direct yourself in the right place and the rationale of affection. Well, absolutely, guys. And, when I first decided to start getting into Reiki, again, it was something of a gift that I just kind of woke up with one day that I was able to give. I had my mom's encouragement, who was a Reiki master, who I never got any Reiki from, and I didn't get any information from her before this happened. So once I decided I was into Reiki and I could give Reiki, I reached out to my mom, and then she helped and guided me a little bit. She told me it was a very positive thing, that it was unconditional love that essentially was given from God through me as a channel. And I received a ton of negative feedback, and if I would have listened to everyone's opinions on that negative feedback, I wouldn't have healed myself of depression. I wouldn't have healed myself of PTSD. I wouldn't have healed myself of anxiety. I wouldn't have healed my back issues of sciatica. I wouldn't have healed multiple people's issues concerning their health and their mental awareness. I wouldn't have healed all that. And that was all just free through me from God, and I am so grateful that I ignored everybody's small-mindedness. You know, they only come from a place where of fear, where they're afraid because somewhere along the line someone told them that, you know, that was not okay. But I believe that's what Jesus was doing, was giving Reiki. And, you know, I feel nothing but unconditional love when I give Reiki, and I feel nothing but unconditional love when I receive Reiki. You're literally in a state of bliss afterwards for days. So how could it be anything of a negative state? And it's been about 4 or 5 years that I've been off my anxiety medication and depression, and I've never had any issues with it since. So all I can tell you is this. I'm sharing this with you and explaining this to you. 555 on the timer. If I would have listened to what everyone else was saying and listened to everyone else mocking me and making fun of me, then I wouldn't have been able to get where I have gotten. And thank God I ignored the noise and listened to my higher self, listened to God, and listened to my, you know, my inner team of light telling me to ignore that. So if something is really pulling you towards something, but you are getting a lot of negative feedback from it, really ask yourself, is it coming from a place of God, or is it coming from a place of fear that these people might have? Maybe an experience they had was a negative experience, so they're closed-minded to that. But all I can tell you is this, is I'm glad I ignored the noise, so you do what you want, but I would highly recommend ignoring the noise and going inward with God and asking and surrendering it to them and asking them what you should do. So I love you all. I hope this helps. Namaste.